Can you hear me? There we go. Make sure your cell phones are off, please. I think it said it on the board somewhere. Thank you for coming today on probably, to everybody sitting here, the most special day of the year. I think it beats Christmas by a long shot, so I want to thank you for coming. We've had to change our program. We were originally going to be at the park, and it was going to be part of the dual ceremony with the city for rehoisting all the branch flags and basically reopening up of the Veterans Memorial. And on Monday, there was a lady named Nicole that was coming from the Bahamas, and we didn't really know where Nicole was going. And so we made a decision on Monday that in the best interest of all the veterans and the citizens, not knowing what the weather was going to be today, we moved the locale back here to the church where we've been for the last 2 years while the park's been going through the beautiful reconstruction. And I think if you get a chance, you need to go over there and take a look. It is spectacular. I don't know if people have seen it, but it's the best $14 million I've ever seen spent. And I think for generations to come, that people and family are going to enjoy it forever. And I don't have it in my program, but I want to thank the city for the great job of putting that park back together. So thank you. I think everybody got a program, and I hope the ladies got their flowers. Can you hold them up so I can see? Thank you. All right. There you go. Thank you. Before we begin the program and the beginning of the posting of the branch flags, I just have a couple comments, and I want to share with you some things that are new, that aren't on the program. You have to remember, on Monday, we had a program for outside with a beautiful flyover, and we had the Navy involved. We had the biggest flyover that was ever going to hit Marco, and that had to get scrapped for right now. So this is Plan B that you're going to see today, so I hope you enjoy it. First of all, I want to recognize, do we have any Gold Star family members here today? Okay, that's good. Would you please stand? If you don't know what a Gold Star family is, you need to Google it on the way out. Okay? I also want to wish a happy birthday. Yesterday was the 247th birthday of the Marine Corps. Can I have the Marines stand up? Happy birthday. I can't go any further in the program without thanking the staff of Marco Lutheran Church. There's a lady that's sitting back behind that smoke glass. Her name is Betsy Sabita. She's the manager here of the church. Her and I spent the last 3 days putting together what we hope will be one of the nicest programs that you've ever attended. So Betsy, you and your staff, thank you very, very much. I also want to thank the Marco Island Fire Department for bringing their big flag outside and the help of the Marco Police Department with traffic and always supporting our veterans and Memorial Day. So, Chief, thank you very much. Today, we got a special guest performer. His name is Dave Bray. Dave came down from Pennsylvania, and I listened to him yesterday, and I think you're going to really enjoy the music that he's going to give us. And so, Dave, thank you so much for making the effort to come down. Okay? I don't know if she's here, the lady from the VA in Collier County. I invited her, but I want to thank her and everybody at Collier County that takes care of our veterans on a daily basis. And those of you that are here that have worked with the county and gone to the VA and try to get your compensation increased or to start. They're instrumental in helping veterans that have disabilities here on this island. And I know there's people here that have gone there and have been re-rated from 10 or 20% to 80 or 100%. And this is all through the efforts of Collier County. So I want to thank Commissioner LoCastro, who's here today, for supporting that program with the county, and I'd like to see you give them more money to help veterans. Thank you. Okay. As an add-on, as of 5 minutes ago, our city manager, Mike McNeese, said a letter came to the American Legion, Post 404, and I'm going to take a moment to read it. I'm not going to tell you who it's from until the end. But it says, "Dear friends, I'm honored to join the American Legion Post 404 in the city of Marco Island for your Veterans Day ceremony at the new Veterans Community Park. A special time to recognize the brave men and women who have fought to protect our great nation. Thank you for your dedication to honoring these brave heroes. As a Navy veteran and the son of a World War II veteran, I know firsthand the sacrifices our men and women in uniform and their families make to defend our freedom. Members of our armed forces truly represent the best of what it means to be an American and a Floridian. None of the opportunities and freedoms we have as Americans would be possible today without the dedicated service of our brave heroes. As a U.S. Senator and a member of the Armed Service Committee, fighting for our heroes is my top priority. I will always do everything I can to support our military members, veterans, and their families so that they can succeed and pursue their dreams. Again, thank you for your service to the state and our veterans. The hard work and dedication of Floridians like you is what makes our state the best place to live, work, and raise a family. I wish you the best for a great event and continued success. Rick Scott, U.S. Senator. We're a little island, but we make a lot of noise, don't we? Okay, now we're going to begin our program. I'm going to ask for the presentation of the branch flags, and they're going to be done in the order of how they have been admitted to the United States. Our first flag carrier is retired Colonel Joe Verano, representing the United States Army. Our next flag bearer, representing the United States Marines, is Ryan Riley. Representing the Navy is U.S. Army veteran Terry Tobin. The Air Force is being represented by Al Bazo. The Coast Guard is being represented by Joe Shady. And our newest branch of service, the U.S. Space Force, is being represented by Navy veteran Lee Ross. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the presentation of colors and our national anthem being performed by United States Navy veteran and national recording artist Dave Bray, USA.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. In the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, which is going to be done by Marine Corps veteran and Post Vice Commander Joe Beatty.
Please join me in a salute to our nation's colors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor God. Order, march. Honor God. Thou face. Honor God. Forward, march.
Please be seated. I want to welcome back a good friend of American Legion and veterans everywhere. Please join me in welcoming Father Tim Navin from San Marco Catholic Church.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. God, our Almighty Father, creator of mankind and author of peace, as we are ever mindful of the cost paid for the liberty we possess, we ask you to bless the active and inactive members of the armed forces. Give them courage, hope, and strength. May they ever experience your firm support, gentle love, and compassionate healing. Be their power and protector, guiding them from darkness to eternal light. To you be all the glory, honor, and praise, now and forever. Amen.
As part of every American Legion official meeting, which today is, we perform a service that I think a lot of you have seen before. It's the covering of the chair right in front of us, honoring the POWs and MIAs, which will be followed by remarks from Carl Steinhoff, the chairman of Rolling Thunder. If we were at the park, we would be uncovering the beautiful POW chair that's going to be placed there. So at this time, I want to introduce John Ablazon, who's the first Vice Commander of American Legion. and Harry Weathers, who will be bringing the cover in. I request that all service people stand. Thank you.
A POW MIA's empty chair is placed at all official meetings of the American Legion as a physical symbol of the thousands of American POW MIAs still unaccounted for from all our wars and conflicts involving the United States of America. This is a reminder for all of us to spare no effort to secure the release of any American prisoners from captivity, the repatriation of the remains of those who died bravely in defense of liberty, and a full accounting of those missing. Let us rededicate ourselves for this vital endeavor. Hand salute.
Please be seated. At this time, I want to introduce Carl Steinhoff. Carl is the chairman of the Rolling Thunder District 5 of Florida, and their mission has been to place chairs around the state at parks honoring the POWs and MIAs. So, Carl, come on up. There you are, big guy.
Good morning. POW MIA Chairs of Honor are located across the United States in sports arenas, stadiums, parks, town halls, state capitals, and in our capital in Washington, D.C. The chairs are meant to represent those service members who are unable to fill them because of their sacrifices. They also remind us of the men and women who serve our country every day. The POW MIA Chair of Honor is One Way Rolling Thunder, Florida 5, addresses our mission. Our mission statement is, our major function is to publicize the POW MIA issue, to educate public that many American prisoners of war were left behind after all past wars, and to help correct the past and to protect the future veterans from being left behind should they become prisoners of war or missing in action. Second, we are committed to helping veterans from all wars. The significance of the chair is fivefold. It is a symbol, number one, it's a symbol of hope that one day all of our POWs and MIAs will return home to their rightful place and their mission is completed. Number two, it commands respect for the sacrifices each made in the service of their country. Number three, it raises awareness for their plight. Number four, it demands accountability from their government that abandoned them so many years ago. And number five, it conveys to the POW MIA families to rest assured Rolling Thunder will stand forever vigilant in support of the families and the loved ones until they all come home. Marco Island had a couple of its citizens who were prisoners of war. Fulton W. Rusty Sandler passed away on Thursday, October 3rd, 2019 in Cardiff, California, and was laid to rest in Largo, Florida. Rusty was a part-time resident of Marco Island. He served as a navigator on a B-17 named Bessie and reached second lieutenant as a flight officer. On April 29, 1944, while on a mission, his airplane was shot down and subsequently crash-landed in a small field at the edge of Holland and Belgium. While attempting to carry out the injured from the burning plane, Rusty, along with the rest of his crew, were captured by the Wehrmacht. Rusty and the crew were placed in a POW camp in Berlin, and the U.S. Army told his parents he was missing in action. In January 1945, there was news the Russians were coming, so Rusty and his crew, as well as other prisoners totaling 2,500 men, were forced to march through a grueling blizzard, stopping at Nuremberg.
At the end of 10 days, only 240 men survived. A second march began and came to its final stop at a prison camp in Moosburg, located in Bavaria, Germany. He spent a month or so there sleeping in mud puddles due to the lack of tents and beds. After defying the odds on April 29, 1945, a year to the day, Rusty was liberated by General Patton. After being freed and returning to the U.S., he attended St. Lawrence University, became a member of Sigma Pi fraternity, and he began Redico, a military packaging company. He and his wife, Judith, of 49 and a half years, retired to Marco Island. Bill Hansen is a former corporal in the U.S. Army, and he was captured by the enemy during the Korean War. He spent 3 years in a POW camp in Pyeongtaek, and he passed away in Naples Hospice on July 22, 2006. In an interview, Bill said, "At 3 a.m., we heard bugles and whistles blowing, then gunfire. We were overrun by 30,000 Chinese. We ran out of ammunition. We were fighting hand-to-hand combat. Out of 60 of us, they only took 7 of us as prisoner. They captured me on November 2nd, 1950, and they took us to the mountains in the north. In the living conditions at camp, he said they would lay on the floor and use their own body heat to keep warm. In the middle of the night, someone would yell, 'Shift!' and everyone would roll from the left to the right side because the floor they were sleeping on was stone. And you would get sores if you didn't move. And if the guy next to you didn't move, you knew he was dead." He said, "I'd make the guys eat food. They were given millet, grass seed, and grains for fodder, cracked corn and barley. They had a little cup at 5 a.m. and another one at 6 p.m. And then when the peace talks started, they added a little rice and chopped up pork and whatever bugs might be in it." After his release, Bill came back to the U.S. and took a job as General Douglas MacArthur's driver. He said, "He picked me out of a whole list of drivers. I never know why." But Rolling Thunder backs groups who return to Vietnam, Korea, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Japan to search for the remains of our missing in action. We have 72,267 MIA from World War II, 7,522 MIA from Korea, 1,581 MIA from Vietnam, 126 MIA from the Cold War, 5 MIA from the Gulf Wars, and 1 from El Corrado Canyon. Through the efforts and others, we have helped significantly reduce the numbers of MIAs and return them to their families. Rolling Thunder was also part of the start of the POW MIA Flag Act. It was signed into law by President Trump on 7 November 2019, so every government building with a flagpole will fly a POW MIA flag below our nation's flag so more people would see and remember. Currently in Southwest Florida, we've installed chairs at Canberra Park in Naples, Veterans Park in LaBelle, VFW 7721 in Naples, and VFW 4174 in Lehigh Acres, with many more in planning. We look forward to the dedicating the Chair of Honor and Veterans Community Park here on Marco Island soon, and we hope you all will come out for its dedication. Thank you very much.
Each year, not only on Memorial Day, but on Veterans Day, we try to honor those veterans of the community that have passed away of recent. And today we're going to do the same. I'm going to ask the past commander of the Civil Air Patrol and Marco Island's first police chief, Bob Boone, to come up and take this ceremony. The ceremonial bell will be rung by Dirk Switkin, U.S. Navy veteran and a member of the Marco Island Fire Department.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am indeed honored to be here this morning to recognize our deceased veterans from Marco Island during the past year. Leroy Fishley, John Kendall, Larry Oswald, Ray Rosenberg, Robert Sargent, Richard Siska, and Tom Wieneman. Thank you.
To lighten things up a little bit, I reached out to a special lady of Marco Island to help us with, I consider, one of the most beautiful songs ever written. Please welcome Marco resident and Marco Lutheran Church choir, Emily Savage.
Thank you for coming to celebrate this magnificent day. When we recognize the veterans who are no longer here, we recognize those who are here, and we have them in our prayers and our thoughts. It's a pleasure to be here to sing for you. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty, above the fruited plain. America, God shed His grace on me, and crown my good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for the patriot's dream that seems beyond the years. Their alabaster city beam, undimmed by human tears. America, God shed His grace on me, and crown my good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Thank you, Emily. Beautiful, thank you. And the poor lady's got a broken foot and she came in to sing. So I'm going to give you a second applause. All right. Next, I want to introduce one of our speakers for today. He goes by the title of Colonel Jim Bloom. I'm not sure what branch of the service he was in, but he's a big guy and I didn't question him. Colonel Jim Bloom has been with the Collier County Sheriff's Office for 28 years. Serving as the undersheriff, he works to oversee the day-to-day operations of the organization and fulfill the mission of the sheriff. Colonel Bloom began his career with the Collier County Sheriff's Office in 1993 as a corrections deputy. He has served in a wide variety of positions to include patrol deputy, SWAT team leader, and team sniper, administrative assistant to the sheriff, vice narcotics bureau investigator, undercover detective, and commander of the drill academy. In 2001, he was promoted to captain of the Special Operations Division, and in 2003 assumed captain of the newly formed Operations Division, which merged the Special Operations Division and the Patrol Division. In January of '06, Jim was promoted to Chief of the Operations Department and oversees the Special Operations Division of the County Sheriff's Office. In March of 2020, he was designated as acting colonel by the sheriff for incident management of the COVID-19 pandemic response and subsequently the civil disturbance response team for both scheduled and spontaneous protest. In October of 20, he was promoted to undersheriff, where he manages more than 1,400 members in excess of 60 departments and divisions with an operating budget of $206 million tax dollars. He administers sheriff's office policies and develops new management practices, promoting Sheriff Rambaugh's vision and advancing culture equity. Colonel Bloom is a graduate of the FBI National Academy and has a master's science degree in public administration and a master's degree in Homeland Defense and Security from the Naval Postgraduate School for Homeland Security. He has received many awards and recognition throughout his career, to include the Deputy of the Year. He's an active member of our community and is involved with Leadership Collier Foundation, where he serves as a board member. Make the Wish Foundation is a member of the board of Youth Haven of Southwest Florida. Jim resides in Collier County with his wife Samantha, his son Gavin, and their two daughters Cassidy and Maylee. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jim Bloom.
Good morning, everybody. Come on, you can do better than that. Good morning, everybody. This is a great day for us here. On behalf of Sheriff Rambaugh, I personally want to thank each of you for allowing me. I'm very humbled and honored today to be before you, and I truly mean that. What a beautiful day in Southwest Florida for us to get together, and what a tremendous turnout here today. Let's talk about Veterans Day. What does it stand for? This is a great day for us to recognize all veterans, both living and deceased, and what they have sacrificed for this country. It means a tremendous amount to me personally, and quite frankly, I want to recognize each of you from both a personal and a professional note, every living veteran that we have here today, what you've sacrificed, and unless you've walked in your shoes, no one ever understands your sacrifices, both personally, your family, and what you've given up for this country. So on behalf of me, God love you, and thank you for everything you've done. I love to study history because we can learn so much from it, and I'm a big quote person, so if you'll bear with me during the process today while I'm speaking, I'm going to refer to a couple quotes. I'd like to start with this one today from Abraham Lincoln at the Gettysburg Address, and I'll explain why. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated this ground, for above our poor power to add or detract, the world will little note, not long remember what we say here today, but it can never forget what they did here. If you really think about those words, that mean so much, because quite frankly, I'm not going to get into politics today, but what I will say is this country has a short memory. We tend to forget what has taken place for each of us to sit here today. We live in I don't care what anybody says, we live in the greatest country in the world. But we live in the greatest country in this world, hold no bones about it, because of what our veterans gave up and did so we could sit here today. And I think we have to continue to educate and remind our youth and our country of what it's taken for us to sit here today. That's the first quote. A little bit about my personal background. Veterans Day means a tremendous amount to me. As a lot of you know, some of you may not, my father was 27 and a half years, United States Army, most of those in the Special Forces. He served in both the Korean and Vietnam War. So he died at a very young age for me, but what I do remember and what my family remembers are a lot of sacrifices, quite frankly, and what he gave up to serve his country and what our family gave up. So Veterans Day is extremely important for me on that aspect. Me personally, I did not serve in the United States military, but what I did, and I think a lot of you can relate to this, I did run our drill academy for 2.5 years. I was fortunate or unfortunate, depending on how you look at it. Anybody ever been served at Fort Lost in the Woods, better known Fort Leonard Wood? Yeah, I went through full boot camp there. So, yeah, I didn't get to have the process after that. I just got to enjoy Fort Lost in the Woods for a miserably cold amount of time. You can relate to that. Also, I went through a modified receiving program at Parris Island. Anybody serve Parris Island? Yeah, step out of that bus and get on those golden footsteps. You can relate. Yeah, I was fortunate enough, once again, or unfortunate enough, to go through that process too. I will tell you, it changed me personally and professionally, both those programs forever, in the good. And that literally changed me and changed my ability to lead within the agency. And for that, I'm forever grateful from both those institutions. What's Veterans Day mean to our agency? I will tell you right now, you have one of the best law enforcement sheriff's offices in the country. And I will tell you, you have outstanding city PDs too. And what's that mean together? I can only speak for the sheriff's office. I ran some numbers yesterday. We currently have employed 279 United States veterans within our agency. We are a success as a result of our veterans. You have one of the greatest agencies serving you every day as a result of our veterans. What do they bring? I will tell you right now. They bring knowledge, structure, discipline, dedication, service to others before self, and selflessness. Those are just a few of the characteristics that our United States veterans bring to us. Collier County has been designated, and this was by the U.S. News, several of you know, several months ago, as the safest place, metropolitan size, to live in the country. Do you think that happens by accident? I'll tell you right now, it doesn't. It comes from all those characteristics I just read to you, and it comes from our structure and our backbone and our foundation of our U.S. veterans serving every day and leading both formally and informally. How does that play into the daily operations? I spoke to both the Commissioner / Colonel Castro along with Lee, and how could we tie that in today? Well, I want to talk about a little event you may know about. Anybody know about Hurricane Ian? Does it ring a bell? Yeah, it does to me. I lost my house, quite frankly. That's why I limped up here. I broke my foot doing demo work, so thanks for being patient as I limp up here from breaking it 5 weeks ago. But how's that tie in? Well, I'm going to tell you some things that maybe you do or do not know. What does the structure of our veterans and how do we run our agency? Well, it's no secret. The greatest law enforcement agencies in this country are quasi-military. They're based on a quasi-military operation. And those that don't or aren't, quite frankly, are failing. I don't care what anybody says. We base ours on quasi-military, and that's one of the reasons why we're so successful here. So what's that mean? Well, we'll start off with the basics. It means we develop plans for everything and anything. Ask anybody. I am a plan guy. I got a plan for civil unrest. I got a plan for emergency operations, hurricane. I got a plan for active shooter. I got a plan for brush fires. Who in the heck would think we need a plan for brush fires in Collier County? We do. And I can go on and on. That comes from our military background of having plans. It's always chaos, but what do you want to do? You want to control that chaos. It's controlled chaos. I think any of us that have served or been in the battlefield or been on the front lines know it's great to have a plan and control that chaos. That's the first thing. The second is, what do you do? How do you move forward with that? Well, we activate, we mobilize, and we implement. That's exactly what we did during Hurricane Ian. That's why it went as smooth as what it did during controlled chaos, both from your city PD aspect along with the countywide operation. How do we run that? We run it out of a real-time operations center. We have one of the most advanced operations centers in the country as a result of you and your support. We built it 2 years ago, and it's literally something out of Star Trek. We're tied in countywide with cameras, with license plate readers, with total both technology and operational aspect of how to run this. And that's why things ran so smoothly. How do we activate? We go all hands on deck. No different than the military. We activated, went into Alpha Bravo shifts, and we ran those for 9 days as a result of the commitment. That means we had our men and women in the field, on the battlefront, for 9 days, Alpha Bravo. Not at home with their families, no different than the military. Missions, sleeping on the floor, and so forth. Logistics. People go, logistics? What makes or breaks an operation? Anybody agree logistics? Ask Putin right now how it's working out for him without having good logistics. Thank God. But I will tell you, if you aren't smart enough to know, the military is, if you don't have solid logistical support, fuel, food, housing, and I can go on and on. Where do you think we learned that from? Military preparation. You better have the little details locked on. Take care of the little things, and the big things fall in place. That's exactly what we do here. Multi-agency coordination. I will tell you right now, our coordination and success is a result of our relationships with Marco Island PD, Naples PD, and quite frankly, county. The man sitting to my right, Colonel/Commissioner LaCastro, along with the county manager, along with Chief Rosano and so forth. That is why we were so successful here. That's a great thing, and once again, it's no different than the military. We learn from the military on the importance of that and work in multi-agency approach versus silos and individual aspect. Step-down normalization. Anybody know what I mean by that? It's no different than the military. You've got to figure out, once the operation is coming to a closure and an end, how do you step it down? There is no science, it's an art. And what do I mean by that aspect? No different than the military, we have to normalize the community. You got to get your community back to normalcy as quick as possible, because if not, they lose trust in you. And it's truly an art. When do we shut down the curfew? When do we start opening certain areas? Areas that have power, don't have power, and so forth. That's exactly what we did here, and we're still working on it. This hurricane changed this county forever if you don't realize it. I will tell you right now, it has changed us. But we'll be better for it in the long run, I promise you, and we'll be stronger. And finally, the men and women that serve you every day, their dedication and sacrifice. They've learned it, a large portion of them, from the military. They realize the bigger issue of service to others before self and how important that is. And that's the way we run this organization. So in a nutshell, that's how we're able to parallel our operations, is because of the experience that our veterans bring. Without the acumen to get the mission done no matter what that our veterans bring, there's no way we could be successful. So in closing, I want to close with one quote and explain it. This quote is from Ronald Reagan, one of the greatest leaders, in my opinion, that this country's ever known. Veterans know better than anyone else the price of freedom, for they have suffered the scars of war. We can offer them no better tribute than to protect what they have won for us in the U.S. My tribute and my commitment to you as I look at you is, I guarantee we as an agency will continue to recognize you by protecting what you have fought so hard for to give us in this county. Every day we go out, we will protect the U.S. Constitution, and we will protect you as a result of everything you, as a United States military veteran, have sacrificed for us. So with that being said, it was truly an honor today to be before you. Thank you for everything you've done for us in this community. God bless you.
They liked you, Jim. Right now, I'm going to invite Dave Bray to come back up and sing his hit song called Warrior Inside. Dave?
Thanks, Lee. I'll tell you what, it was truly, and you guys are truly blessed to have the good colonel back here on your team and on your side after listening to his testimony, listening to his bio and what he's done just in the service of his country and for these good people in this community. That is quite commendable. It's truly actually, it's providence, in my opinion, that God puts people like you on this planet to do the hard work, the dirty work, and get your hands dirty for the community. So another round of applause for Colonel Jim Green. All right, so I'm shaken up actually listening to all of what he's done and accomplished. But my name is Dave Bray, USA. I'm a singer and a songwriter. I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I consider myself to be a proud patriot of the greatest nation on the planet Earth. So I'm going to ask this quick question. Do we have any patriots in the house today? Yeah. Well, I don't think you would be here if you weren't. So I'm going to sing you a song, and this song is called Warrior Inside. And it is my firm belief that if you have served this country, whether it's in law enforcement, because I believe that we are literally living inside of a war right now in this country, or you've served overseas, or you put on the cloth of this great nation at some point in time, then you actually stood up and at some point in time you swore an oath to that Constitution that he was referring to. And I don't know about you, but as a United States Navy and Marine Corps veteran, I never actually unswore that oath. I never unraised my hands to it. And so this song that I'm going to sing for you guys today is one that is written from the perspective of a serviceman, from a perspective of, yes, even our law enforcement and, of course, our military war fighters. And long after you hang up your badge or hang up your uniform and put your boots away for the last time, I wanted to remind people with this song that you're still in service. You're still in service to the nation. You're still in service to the one upstairs who watches over us. And you're still in service to the next generation. And again, if we fail as like Ronald Reagan said, if we fail to pass on the torch of freedom to the next generation, then we have failed. So we have to be the adults in the room. These elections and all this stuff, it only matters to a point. But what truly matters is what we hand over to the next generation. And I don't want you guys to forget, for those of you who have served, if there is still a breath within your lungs, then there is still that 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, that's warrior that still lives inside, deep down inside of your soul. So that's what this song is about. And I hope that you guys enjoy it today. It's off my album called Music on a Mission, which is all about bringing patriotism and faith back to light in this country. I'm a firm believer that without God, there is no country. So I'm going to ask this question one more time for you guys. Do we have any God-fearing, freedom-loving, flag-waving patriots in the house? Check this out. When I was a young man, I put up my right hand, swore to defend this land with all that I had. Some of my best years washed away in blood and guts and tears. Probably drank 1,000 beers. Those who care. But if I'm still breathing, and I'm still in this fight, yeah, I was born to survive, 'cause I'm a warrior inside. No longer a young man. Whoa, but that oath I swore still stands, and I still defend this land. And all that I had, still got a few good years. 'Cause I survived the nightmares and the fall for my friends until the end. I'll see you again. But if I'm still breathing, and I'm still in this fight, yeah, I was born to survive. I'm a warrior inside. If I still stand, if I still walk on the freest of lands, and I'll never surrender. Stand up and fight. Now do it all with my head high. 'Cause I'm a warrior. 'Cause I'm a warrior. 'Cause I'm a warrior inside.
Dave Bray, USA. Love it. Our next speaker is homegrown from Marco Island. Let me tell you about Rick LaCastro. Rick was elected County Commissioner of District 1, which includes East Naples, Marco Island, Isle of Capri, Port of the Islands, and Goodland, and I think everything to the Dade County line. A 1988 graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy, Rick served in the Air Force for 24 years and retired as a full colonel in 2012. He's held positions in NATO, the Pentagon, and worked in 80 countries. Rick is a former commander at Andrews Air Force Base, supporting Air Force One, was also the base commander of Eglin Air Force Base in Fort Wharton Beach, and later returned to the U.S. Air Force Academy, where he was a 1988 graduate, to serve as base commander there as well. After military retirement, he was recruited to Naples as Chief Operating Officer of Physicians Regional, serving for 4 years, and later was a senior executive at Aval Hospice. While in the military, he worked for 2 presidents, Bush 41 and Bush 43, for General Norman Schwarzkopf, and was the aide to an Air Force 4-star general for 3 years. Rick holds a Bachelor's of Science degree from the Air Force Academy and 3 masters. He is also a 2013 Leadership Collier graduate. Please welcome Air Force veteran Colonel Rick LaCastro.
Thank you. I'm going to deviate a little from my script. The Dave Bray fan club will be forming on the line. We'll be selling CDs in the back. Listen, one thing I want to say, Dave, I like hearing the national anthem. And it's an anthem. It's not a rap song. It's not a jazz song. It's an anthem. This man sang it like an anthem. And I tell you what, you did us proud. He is proud. And to my friend, Colonel Jim Bloom, we work closely together. And one of the things I'll say is, it was really 9/11 that brought the uniformed personnel together with all the first responders. We're such a close family now, and maybe we always should have been, but 9/11 really brought us all together. And I think because it doesn't matter what uniform you wear, it's all about service. And the men and women that sit up here in the front row and are representing so many others that aren't here, and the people that Colonel Bloom has command over, making sure that we're one of the safest city in the United States of America, it's because of service. So I appreciate everything that you do. I'm happy and proud to serve with you, and look forward to more great things for our community. We need you more now than ever, and we appreciate everything that you do. Although Lee told me to send my short bio, Jim's seemed to be like in 4 volumes. Oh, I don't know what was up with that. But I'll just say, good morning, my fellow veterans. Listen, we might be sitting in a church, but today is cause for celebration. To salute and remember service, the service of others and of those who currently wear the uniform today. So I say again, my fellow veterans, happy Veterans Day, and thank you for your service. First, I want to know who's out in the audience. So where are my fellow brothers and sisters who served in the Air Force? Where are you? Come on, let's oh gosh, oh. We've lived a charmed life, so we bring it kind of weak, Wait till I introduce the Army folks. Anybody here from the U.S. Army? No? Okay, thanks. Hey, Army? Any Army? Army? Let's hear it. Okay, Army, quit bragging. Okay, quit bragging. United States Navy. Are there any U.S. Marine Corps personnel out there? Once a Marine, always a Marine, right? Okay. You probably have heard me say this before, but when the Marines stand up, they all can still fit in their uniforms, and they can all still do 50 push-ups. They don't change no matter how old they are. How about United States Coast Guard? Anybody serve in the Coast Guard? And then I was a NATO commander for several years, and then deployed to Afghanistan and a little bit of time in Iraq. Do we have any allied countries, anybody from an allied nation that served? Canada, Great Britain, Germany, or anybody that just wants to stand up and act like they're from an allied country? Oh, there we go, right there. Thank you, sir. We're gonna check your ID after this just to make sure. So this is certainly a day to applaud and appreciate the service, the patriotism, the courage, and the sacrifice of many. For those who have worn the uniform and those who presently wear it. People have heard me say before, today should not be about mattress sales and car discounts. I'm so disappointed when I see that. It's about honoring those who have stepped forward to serve our country, and there's an audience in front of me full of heroes who have done that. And I applaud you, and I'm proud to serve with you. I'm humbled to be part of this amazing group, this amazing family who this day honors. But I'm here to talk about the Space Force. So, space, the final frontier. To boldly go where no man or woman, come on everybody, what comes next? Has gone before. TV junkies. It's amazing how what was once science fiction is now anything but. Mankind has always focused on the heavens above, space. In some ways, it seems like a million years ago, we were worried about Sputnik, that we were applauding Alan Shepard, John Glenn, and eventually Neil Armstrong. Amazing accomplishments that only years before people thought were science fiction, something only in the movies. Jules Verne. Yet here we are now. You know, actually, in the big scheme of things, not too many years later, we've gone back and forth to the moon a half dozen times. 12 Americans have walked on it. We've seen the success, triumph, and unfortunately, the tragedies of our space shuttle program. We've cheered the exploration of Mars and the outer limits of our galaxy. Indeed, regardless if we had a space force, the United States has always been a force in space. The United States Space Force flag that we see here today represents a new branch of our armed forces and the world's only independent space force. Along with its sister branch, the United States Air Force, the Space Force is now part of the Department of the Air Force. And through the Department of the Air Force is overseen by the Secretary of the Air Force, a civilian political appointee who reports to the Secretary of Defense and is appointed by the President with Senate confirmation. The military head of the Space Force is the Chief of Space Operations and typically the most senior Space Force officer. This position exercises supervision over the Space Force's units and serves as one of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. This new Space Force is currently the smallest of the U.S. Armed Services, consisting of approximately 9,000 military personnel, but operates 77 spacecraft across various programs, such as GPS, military satellite communications, a variety of space planes, and our U.S. military warning system, and of course, many highly classified missions. Did you know that actually the first discussions of creating a separate military space service occurred in 1958, 9 years before Star Trek ever aired? And the idea was also considered in 1982 by President Ronald Reagan. Later, the 2001 Space Commission argued for the creation of a separate Space Corps, a discussion which continued until 2011. Boy, 10-year discussion, government, bureaucracy. A bipartisan proposal in the US Congress was also presented in 2017 that could have created a separate US Space Corps, but it did not. However, on December 20th, 2019, the United States Space Force Act was signed into law as part of the National Defense Authorization Act, reorganizing Air Force Space Command and other Air Force space elements into the United States Space Force, thus creating the first independent military service since the Army Air Corps was reorganized as the U.S. Air Force in 1947. Anybody here from the Army Air Corps? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. So today, as part of our Veterans Day ceremony, we honor the men and women who have worn or currently wear all military uniforms, serving our country proudly. And today, we are equally proud to display the flag of our newest service, the United States Space Force. However, it's not a new mission. It's not a new idea. Remember when people said flight was impossible? That breaking the speed of sound was reckless, even that the moon was made of cheese. Now we look to the sky, we look to the heavens, we look to the deep, dark vastness of space, and we cheer those brave men and women who have gone where no man or woman has gone before. Trekkie fans. Right? No, it's actually not a TV show. It's the present. and it's our future. We can only imagine what lies ahead for our United States Space Force, our country, and for all of mankind. Certainly in 1969, it may have been one small step for a man. But since then, we have taken and continue to take a multitude of giant leaps for all of mankind. We welcome the United States Space Force to our military family. Thank you, and now a man who needs no introduction, our commander, Lee Rubenstein.
He hacked my computer. He took my speech. That's all right. Thank you, Rick. I guess it is a memorable day because a lot of people in this audience remember when the first jets were introduced. And I think Delta still has on their hangar Fly Delta jets. So yes, the world's come a long way in a very short period of time. Thank you. Okay. Now comes a part that I always enjoy. Rick did a little bit of it and asked for you guys to stand up by your branches, but the only thing that was missing was the music. And so I'm going to ask our tech people to fire up the music, and the first group to stand to be recognized is U.S. Army.
Shout, counter-marching all about, and those missiles go rolling above. For it's high, high beat in the field artillery. Count out your numbers loud and strong. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And we're ready to go. You will always know that those missiles go rolling above.
United States Navy. United States Coast Guard.
We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in Thee. Through howling gale and shot and shell to win our victory. Send bird mirages is our guide, our pledge, our motto too. We're always ready to or die. I Coast Guard, we fight for you.
United States Air Force.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sky. Here they come, soon to be our thunder. And the boys give it the gun. And we die, starting a flame from under, off with one terrible roar. We live in fame, we'll go down in flame, for nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force.
United States Marine Corps.
From the halls of Mount Tezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First we fight for right and freedom, and to keep our mother free.
newest branch, number 6, the U.S. Space Force. How about you Air Force guys support the Space Force? Air Force guys. Thank you very much to all the branches. I have a few minutes of microphone time, as they say, and I checked with our tech people, and she said I got at least 3 minutes, so here we go. In the late 1990s, I was in Washington, D.C. to view the National World War II Memorial and the Vietnam Wall. I searched for the names of the people I knew, classmates and veterans who never came home. While looking for those names, I thought, how wonderful it would be if we were able to bring the traveling Vietnam Wall to a little island off the southwest coast of Florida called Marco Island. Well, we did it. And not only were we able to host this special event in 2005, but we showed Washington, D.C. how generous people in Southwest Florida are. We raised more money to help maintain the traveling Vietnam Wall than the 5 largest cities in the United States per person that showed up. Marco Island was now on the A-list to host the wall. This was repeated in 2015 and 2020. We were the only city to host the wall before COVID arrived. So we had the whole year to ourselves. But we still raised a lot of money and sent back to Washington to maintain the wall. To all the hundreds of volunteers over the 15 years that helped work on the wall committee, and it's close to 1,000, if you're here today, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Veterans, you've done your duty to your families, to your community, to your fallen comrades, and to your country. And we can never say it enough for your service in war and peace. Thank you. The U.S. Justice Department estimates that 25% of law enforcement officers have a military background. Bravery and dedication to community are common amongst veterans. Today is a day to honor all the men and women who served in the U.S. military. It's about the approximately 19 million U.S. veterans who are still with us today and the millions who have preceded them since the American Revolution. And I'm going to stop my remarks right here because I had a little asterisk because I want everybody here to take a moment and we're going to honor one of the few World War II veterans that live on Marco Island. We have one of them that's here with us today. Please join me and thank and applaud this man, Don Mills. Thank you. And actually, I'm so sorry, I forgot you were coming today. How about a nice round of applause for Sal Scariano? United States Marine Corps. Thank you, Don. Our other Marco World War II veteran, John Basic, is out of town. I understand he went to Chicago for some dental work, so we need to tell him that we have good dentists right here in Southwest Florida. All right. Many veterans serve their communities as paramedics, policemen, firemen, teachers, healthcare workers, or church leaders. Some are business owners, farmers, company workers, or retirees. Veterans are a diverse group represented by men and women of every economic and religious background. They come from every state and territory, but are bound by one common commitment: to defend America with their life if called upon. Military service is not for the faint of heart. Most civilian jobs do not require risk to life or limb. No other occupation subjects employees to criminal charges for disobeying your boss. Unlike members of the military, civilians can live where they want and can quit whenever they want. Not in the military. Transitional changes, the stress of military life, and the feelings of isolation are all factors into a suicide rate amongst veterans that is more than 50% higher than that of non-veteran adults. The stigma of seeking help needs to end. If we're going to stop suicide amongst veterans, it's crucial that we look at this issue much differently than prior generations. If we wait for somebody to make an attempt before we reach out, there's a very good chance it will be too late and we're going to lose those people. Homelessness is another tragic outcome that is too often connected to military service. It's estimated that America has 60,000 veterans, I'm going to repeat that, 60,000 veterans that are homeless. That's greater than the entire population of Carson City, Nevada. Though veterans comprise approximately 7% of the U.S. population, they are 11% of our nation's homeless. Terrible numbers. The best way to prevent a veteran from becoming homeless is to hire one. I'm going to repeat, the best way to prevent this is to hire a veteran. It's not only good policy, but it's smart business for an employer who values skill, discipline, and patriotism. It's fitting that Veterans Day be observed so close to Election Day. It is, after all, the veterans who have preserved our constitutional rights for over 246 years. When a politician talks about the cost of a veterans program, it's up to us to remind them that the cost of being a veteran is priceless. Whether it's exposure to burn pits or other toxins, many veterans today suffer a high price for their military service. It's up to us to ensure that they always have access to the highest quality health care and benefits reflecting the thanks of a great nation, period. 104 years ago, on November 11, 1918, the guns of the world fell silent. An armistice was signed, and the Great War was over. Unfortunately, World War I was not the war to end all wars, as many had hoped. Veterans are not only responsible for defending this nation during time of war, but is the imposing presence of our great military that has acted as a deterrent to the world's would-be aggressors and should never become a political football, period. The veterans of the United States military have not only fought war, they deserve our gratitude for preventing them. And while today we rejoice and honor the services of American veterans, we must also remember the wise words of General Douglas MacArthur: "The soldier above all prays for peace." God bless you all for being here today. God bless our veterans, and God bless America. Thank you. Now we're going to hear a wonderful song, and I would like everybody to join Dave if he doesn't mind. Dave Bray singing "God Bless the USA."
Much. Check 1, 2. Give it up for Post Commander Lee. So I'll just close with a couple things here. Number one, I believe that every day should be Veterans Day. We celebrate and are owners of freedom because of our veterans every day. So every day should be Veterans Day. Can I get a round of applause on that? And since Lee brought up politics, we flew in from Pennsylvania just in time, so we'd like not to go back if we don't have to. If anybody's got a spare room in their garage, we'll take it, my wife and I. But I actually met Lee Greenwood a couple times, and he and I were really kind of, I guess you could call us not really friends, but we, spoke and were kind to one another. And then I added a few extra verses to a song, and I don't think he likes that anymore because he doesn't answer any of my Facebook things anymore. But Lee Greenwood wrote himself a good song here, so let's, if you want to sing, feel free to sing. We're in a church. It's fully legal here up until, I guess until your governorship doesn't go anywhere. We'll keep it that way. So. 'Cause if tomorrow all the things were gone, worked for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife, I thank my God above to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. Yeah. You guys want to stand up? Come on, stand up. 'Cause I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to me. I gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. You guys sound great. You guys been sandbagging on me, I can think. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart. It's time we stand and say, yeah. 'Cause I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Give yourselves a round of applause. You sound great out there. So I wrote a couple extra verses to this song, because I thought Lee Greenwood's version needed a little fresh coat of paint, quite frankly. And I took the liberty in doing so, because last time I checked, this is America, and I'll take the liberty to do whatever I want when it comes to freedom of speech. Am I right? But listen up. But as I look across this nation, seeing broken faith and hearts, both sides being played just to tear each other apart. When we stand together, we take their strength away. 'Cause we are still the people, and free people we shall stay. Yeah. Are you with me? 'Cause I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Now it's about the why. And as I mentioned before, our most valuable asset in this country is our next generation. It's about the kids. So let's do it for the children. Let Lady Liberty lead the way. Back to American freedom, back to love and hope and grace. When we come together, we show the world each day that where they see our American flag, freedom shall remain. Let's sing, Marco. 'Cause I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA. God bless the USA.
Wow. I'm glad I didn't sign up to sing that, so thank you, Dave. Please be seated. At this time, I'm going to ask our post chaplain from American Legion to come up and do our closing prayer, which will be followed by taps. Immediately following taps, our program is concluded, and I want to thank everybody for making the effort to come out today. And every day is Veterans Day. Bill Duncan.
That's a hard act to follow. Father Tim, the veteran men and women here are my flock. However, I know I share them with you, and I'm sure you do a much better job, but I try. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and every day for our freedom and prosperity and to live in this great nation. Freedom is made possible by the sacrifices and suffering made by unselfish men and women of this nation on behalf of all the freedom-seeking people of the world. As we leave here today, let us not forget these brave veterans, many of whom still carry the scars of war and struggle daily with terrible memories of those conflicts. We're a nation and people who do not seek war, but love peace. But when all has failed and war must be fought, we will always remember those who raised their hands and took the oath to defend and protect the American way of life. Finally, Heavenly Father, give us peace and the will to protect it. The men and women who honor us with their service and sacrifice. And may you, God, always bless America, the greatest land of all. Leave us today in peace and love and devotion to that concept. Thank you all for your continued support. God bless you.